Cool. So, first and foremost, the game always starts at champ select, right? When you're drafting, and then the game starts in loading screen, and the game obviously starts when the game loads in. So, you want to utilize that to basically make a game plan, kind of like looking at win con stuff like that. So, for example, before we even start, get an idea of how the lanes are going to interact and how you can potentially interact with them, right? So, for example, just looking at their bot lane versus your bot lane, there's really no hard engage. Generally speaking, these two will probably get prio more just because Morgana and Ezreal outranges these two. But it could go either way, right? There's like no Nautilus, no Rel, stuff like that, that maybe would be a lot easier. Let's say if you were going for a roam, if you had a Nautilus, you could just follow up really easily, stuff like that. So bot lane's pretty volatile in the sense that you can go for a play if it's free, but it's not guaranteed. Now you move on to top. Top, I believe, is losing for sets because Darius should just bleed this guy, but I could be wrong. And also, it depends on how they play it, of course. But one thing to keep in mind is Darius doesn't have TP. So generally speaking, when a top laner doesn't have TP, that means you can impact it. And if they die, for example, they lose a lot more than if they did have TP. And then jungle matchup is also fairly important. You want to basically look at their jungler to see if their jungler has a chance to early gank or early impact. And then also look at your 2v2. So in this case, your 2v2 is not necessarily stronger. It just depends on who plays it better, right?
Right.
Okay. So this is like all information that, yes, because you're bronze, you won't really utilize it. But once you start getting higher and higher and higher, this plays very important. And the reason why I say this, especially with Akshan, is because if you're playing Akshan mid, you're playing to roam and impact the game. And you want to understand how all your lanes interact, how you can interact with it. So for example, in this game, I would be prioritizing a top gank over a bot gank, for example, right?
Over. Okay.
Yeah. And then of course matchup is important as well. So how does Akshan interact with Diana? Generally speaking, it's a losing matchup, but what I will say is because you're in lower MMRs, no matchup is losing for you. You play it better than them, you're going to win it.
Yeah.
Okay. So immediately, you're understanding when you're stronger than a champion is very important. So you kind of want to think about how trading patterns work when they're level 1, 2, 3, and 6. In this game, for example, because Diana is level 1, Diana are never really going to start W. But even if they do, you should be able to out-trade. So when she's literally up here, I would just start E and swing on her.
Start E and go instantly. Okay, that
Yes.
makes sense.
Because
I also knew that she didn't have armor, so I knew I was able to get a lot more poke on her and it'd do more damage.
yes. I mean, this is just completely illegal that she's even up here, right? So you would just be jerking off and kind of, I don't know if you watched my e-guide, but it's to envision your circle, right? For example, you would envision what would make the best circle for you to damage her. So even if she did start W, you would out damage her. So in this case, this would be the best circle. You swing somewhere here, you swing like this. Unless she swaps position to be here, you would swing the other way, right? You would walk towards this wall, and let's say she walked here, you would swing this way, stuff like that. But your E is really, really good here, and you would be able to chunk her at least half HP. So keep that in mind
Okay.
whenever, like, she is so far extended, right? She should not be walking here at all.
Okay.
But this is fine. I would also recommend getting an early ward. Generally speaking, if you want to play like very autopilot in the sense that you just don't know what to do with your ward, oh, that is true. Hold on. They can't see what I'm drawing. There we go. All right, cool. So generally speaking, if you want to just autopilot a ward every single game, this is the word autopilot. At 120 timer, you basically sit on this bush and you place this ward, okay? And what this word will do is it'll basically give you their jungle pathing every single game, so you don't really have to do the work, and you just utilize a word, right? You don't have to think about, think too hardly where you want to word.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing that. My friend showed me how to do that, but
Yeah.
I saw that Morgana and they were all bot lane, so I was scared to go in thinking that they would collapse on me and I'd die.
Yep, that's fine. In that cases, then obviously you can't go for it. Right here, because you're playing Akshan and she has literally no way of interacting with you, you should literally be up in her face, right? Do you see that?
Block her from. Okay, yeah, I see that.
How is she ever allowed to actively touch your minion wave? Because look at this bad trade she's taking, right? Obviously, this isn't going to happen in most elos. Like this, she's brain damaged for going for this. Okay,
Yeah.
you walk back to not take all the minion aggro because you're taking minion aggro right now. So you basically walk back for 1 or 2 seconds, and then you walk completely up,
Oh, okay.
right? So walking back here is fine. And then now, you should literally be
And now
walking here. She
I
can't
should be
touch.
in front of the wave. Okay, I see that.
Yeah. I mean, I would literally be completely zoning her off. I don't even give a fuck about me getting the minions. I give a fuck about her not being able to play the game. And her literally sitting right here, right?
Right.
So always think about how to minimize your enemy's resources as well as maximizing your own resources. Like, she should not be allowed to hit any of those, right? She should be dead here, by the way.
Yeah, I was thinking of I'm just gonna wait for 2, and then once I get E, she's dead because she was already in a bad spot.
Yeah. But, like, look at this.
Yeah, yeah, I see that. That's really bad on my part.
Yeah. You should basically always click with the reasoning. Now, obviously, lower MMR, it's harder to, like, cognitively think of why you're clicking and stuff like that, but why did you backclick here? That is a extremely bad click. That basically signifies that you're hesitant of what? She's literally walking up, but she's walking up above the half mark, and she's half HP, level 1 Diana with no mobility, and your Akshan. Right?
Yeah, I see that.
So
That looks.
I wouldn't even go for this minion, but like you see that again, you backclick again.
Yeah, I see. Urgh. Looking at it from another perspective, it looks
And yeah,
terrible.
dude, she chose to be on your side. You see this? You're on her
Yeah,
side, she's on your side.
and she on your side.
You just run
Yeah.
her down here like a dog that she is. Okay, this is fine. You should go for Qs there. Okay. So at this point, you already would have gone to kill. And all of this is like cool, you know. It looks cool. It probably felt good, but let's be honest, she would have died level 1, right? You
Would
didn't
have
have
died
to burn
sooner if
knife.
I just hadn't been a bitch.
Exactly. Cool. So all of this is fine. Alright, let's see her buy. I didn't mention her starting item, but Doran's Blade is generally good into Diana. You want the extra 80 HP every single laning phase.
Yeah, I knew that
Longsword is fine.
she gets pretty tanky.
Yep.
So I need it out.
Cool. Let me see your runes as well. Okay. Standard runes. Nice. Alright. So right here, there's a couple things you can do. First and foremost, I would be pinging my jungler for assistance because your wave is obviously here. Your jungler could easily, I think he finished chickens. Let me see, actually. Because League at the end of the day is a team game. You want to be able to utilize your teammates. And generally speaking, they're not going to look for plays. Yeah, so he's already level 3. I would just be pinging my jungler to come right now, right? Because this is such an easy gank into Burning Flash, into her just not being able to play the game. He's already level 3, so there's no excuse for him not to come. If he chooses not to come, then that's fine, right? You did your part and just ping him, but it's like the thought that matters. And then second thing I would do here is trim this wave. This wave is way too big. So the moment she throws her Q, you have to be just non-stop hitting. Start hitting with the cannon first. Because you're not hitting at all, then yes, the wave is gonna bounce and he can't really gank because you'll just lose too much. But you need the cannon dead, and then you need some of the melees dead. Because what would have happened if you did trim this wave to, let's say there was only 4, let's say there were only like these camps that were like right here, you would just hover here, you hold it, you first and foremost you beat her in the trade. If she decides to go in, you just QE her and you win the trade. But more importantly, you just set up your jungler for a free gank. Because how is it legal for a Diana to ever be in this position right now? It's not.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Okay. CSing under tower needs a little bit of working on. Alright, why is this trade bad?
Why is the... Because I'm tanking the entire minion wave while she's not.
Yes. You're tanking the entire minion wave? Like, for what reason are you actively choosing to walk up here, past the minion wave, to just get her ass on her? Right? There's no reason to. So you're gonna lose this trade out anyways, but there's like a more advanced reason as to why this is bad. Is because your wave is bouncing to her, so your HP is a resource and you want to treat it as a resource. So think about it from the enemy jungler's perspective, right? If the enemy jungler sees you at half HP, will she be more likely to gank as opposed to full HP?
Yeah, she will.
Yeah. So just looking at the wave states, I would not be trading at all here. I would literally be actively either looking to slow push this, maintaining high HP so that she's not incentivized to gank. But the biggest thing is if you slow push, it doesn't matter what HP you are because you have like, let's say you have like 20 minions here. How are they supposed to gank you, right? You're ungankable at that point, but like this is all very unnecessary. If you get the kill, you get the kill. That's just on her being bad. But that could have easily been bad, right? If Belveth is here, which kind of is now. Thank you. Wow, you actually did not die. You lived with like 3 HP.
I did, and that's... I was surprised too.
Yeah.
I should have thought that she would come sooner.
Yeah. Every single time your wave is bouncing like this, you know how like you know the general states of waves, right? Or do you want me to
Mostly.
explain it?
Just a quick rundown would be appreciated.
Okay. Whenever minions are meeting, so think about minions as like, I don't know, like a balance scale. Whenever they're meeting, so like they're basically in standing idle position, that is what the wave will tell you. And then also counting the minions would help. So for example, because the minions are taking time to hit under here, that means generally speaking, they're going to be idle right around here. And whenever they're idle in your position, a fresh wave is meeting in this position, that means it's going to bounce to them, right? And same vice versa. The only time this is different is if, let's say, this guy was playing like a mage and he chose to blow up this wave, then of course the wave will just maintain here until you decide to reactively do whatever you want to do with it.
Until I do something with it.
Exactly. So even though that your 3 are damaged right here, it's still going to push back to them because the next wave's going to come faster and it's going to keep pushing until obviously it bounces. So because of that, every single time you have a wave like this, you need to cognitively be thinking, where is the jungler and how can the jungle impact me, right? So immediately you have a ward and you didn't place it. So in this position, I would just place a lazy ward right here, call it a day. If you have more time, I would place one maybe right here. It'd be a little bit deeper and cover this angle. But this is your timer to like basically play passive. So that's why that's the main reasoning why this trade pattern is completely bad.
That's why that trade was bad.
Exactly.
Because then I ruined the entire thing.
Yeah. You only kill her because she's bad here. I'd rather you lose games but play correctly than win games because they're just completely trolling, right?
Yeah. I knew this guy was Iron 2, so I took advantage of that pretty bad.
Yeah. And then even now, you have your timer to just ward here, so you don't have to, like...
Before this happens.
Because League... People talk about reaction time, but it's not necessarily reaction time. It's more about just understanding what's going to happen on your screen and anticipation, right? If you saw the Belveth here, you would easily be able to get out.
Yeah, and I could have saved my flash.
Yep. Okay. This is all fine. This should be another kill. Alright. Mechanically, you played this bad. You should be... If you're ever going to lead with Q, it would be here, technically speaking, but I wouldn't even lead with Q because Jarvan's ganking, obviously. You should be autoing her. Auto Q. Yeah, auto Q, because she's stunned, right? Like, she's literally up in the air, so there's no world you miss your Q. Because you basically miss 2 autos worth of damage here. And then when she flash here... I think you backtracked here. You don't have Ignite, so maybe you can't... Actually, you do kill. You do kill if you get the auto Q auto. But because you didn't, you... Like, this play is fine. But 100% you auto Q auto, right? She would be 100 HP lower. And then your E, you can just follow through with your E. You can throw it here.
Should I wait for Jarvan to do the knockup and then do the auto Q auto? Or do I try and start the fight?
No. You can just wait for Jarvan. Because she has no flash. I mean, she has flash here. Is she?
Yeah, she didn't. I don't know.
I mean, even burning flash here is fine. I think she flashed late. Yeah. Just auto Q auto is fine. Because this should be a kill here. Played that really bad. Cool. Once you enter the mid game of Akshan, you always want to look at your sides, look at your fight options. So once again, like this game, I told you about top lane win con, and top lane's actually winning, which is really good. Because they're going for Drake, this is fine. You can help them out here. You do not need that. That's not necessary at all. You just hit Drake and then you go for your wave. Okay. You don't need this either. You're low on mana? Okay. The elo goes a little bit crazy. Sure. Okay. This is why coaching is always weird, because it's like, if they make this egregious mistake that no one will make and decent MMR, like what are they even accomplishing here? I don't understand.
Yeah, we already had the Drake and
yeah, like
they still walked up for no reason.
Yeah. The right play, if they weren't griefing, is you just walk mid, the wave's coming here, and then you have either two options, right? You freeze on a good player, you just hold this freeze, Diana gets ganked because she's flashless, and then you kill, you bounce the wave, you reset, you get your items, cool. Or your other option, because you're ahead of Diana and you're not worried about her killing you, you go to the wave, you shove this wave out, you get, and then you back for your items. All of this was extremely unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
If they go for it, I guess. So. Okay, cool. Instant you kill, you should hard shove this. Good. You want to throw your Q at an angle to hit all.
Hit all of them at once.
Yeah, like these. See this angle?
Yeah. It
would bounce infinitely instead of just doing that, because you are out of mana, and every second you can save matters, so you would have saved a good amount of time. But that's fine, and you just reset. Cool. Honestly, in terms of game decision, pretty good for a bronze player so far. Serrated Dirk, nice. Cool.
Yeah, I was watching your streamer last night. I didn't know that Serrated Dirk was actually that good to go first. I thought you just go straight into Kraken and then Collector afterwards, but I guess Serrated then Kraken is pretty good.
Yeah, it is very good, especially if they're squishy. You do so much damage.
Yeah.
You just E onto her. Should be dead. Nice. Nothing to mention there. I think it was played fine. So at this point, like, oftentimes than not, a lot of Akshan players will be kind of clueless to do in this game state. I mean, this game is obviously kind of just already over. But yeah, this is fine. Good bridging. Okay. So because you're so ahead, like, that could be played like that, but I want to ask you, what do you think went wrong in this play?
I probably didn't have to E there. I probably
Okay.
could have just walked up invis with W, and then if he tried to do something, I could have E'd as like a last resort. I probably should have just walked up, autoed, then Q, then autoed.
Yep, that's one, and then number two.
The Q.
Okay,
Probably
and then
that ward.
number three.
That ward was probably unnecessary.
Okay, number four.
4? Oh, I did not think that far ahead.
Yep, it's right here.
Dodge his Q.
Okay, number five. You'll get it right eventually. Here, I'll show you. Yep, right here. What
I'm
did you
not
do?
seeing it.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
So walked melee range.
Not necessarily wrong. Like all that you mentioned isn't wrong, but what I'm trying to get you at is understanding your clicks better. I think your decision making is good, but your clicks are not. And what I mean by this is decision making is like your cognitive ability to be like, okay, I want to go for this kill, for example, right? It's very like basic, but your clicks is something you kind of do cognitively on the premise of your decision making, if that makes sense. So, now that I told you that it's your clicks, look at your clicks. What is wrong here?
Is it that I went all the way around into the bush? Then.
Right here.
Oh. Yeah.
You see it?
I walked back and not forward.
Exactly. It's the same thing that happened before. It's like you have a decision making that you're making that you want to kill this guy, but your clicks are like basically just going against it. Like, what does this click do for you? Where you went here, and then even then, moreover, what is the lack of click doing for you? Where you stood still, right? Your goal as a range champion is to follow your mark. So if you know, like, for example, but all the things you said were right. You should not lead with E here. You just stay in camo, you ping your set back. Because let's say hypothetically he has flash, he has stuff, and you don't have anything. Isn't he just alive because you used your E? Right?
Yeah.
Your Q was also bad, you were right here. Your ward is fine, so I guess you were technically wrong about that. But look at your clicks. You auto, you stood still, and then you chose to walk this way, and then you chose to auto again.
Left. Yeah, I should have gone into him so he could.
You already know. You want to always think about what the enemy can do and what will, like what are their likely paths, right? He can only path this way. If he paths this way, he's dead, because you're close enough to like where you can just juggle him. You basically want to play basketball with this guy, all right? And so if you're playing basketball, he's no longer the dunk master. You already know where he's gonna go. You just counteract. You walk this way, right?
Yeah.
So, extremely bad to click this way. Because I can see a world where he lives here. If you're not 5-0, he lives here and you're crying. Cool. It worked out.
That's probably true.
So, be very cognitive about your clicks. Recalling here is... I think I wouldn't have recall here. I don't know what that Diana's doing. What are you recalling even for? Noon Quiver? Yeah, that's not worth. What should have happened here is you should just go straight mid, because look at this wave, right? You're gonna miss this wave, and you're gonna miss some of the next wave because you're recalling here. You see that?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know for what reason Diana was like, oop, I'm just gonna give you a free freeze. But she should insta hard shove this, and then you would miss a lot of minions.
And she'd probably get a plate out of it too, if she was...
I don't think she'd get a plate, but...
I don't know.
Because
Hard
it's
to
a
tell
cannon
after
wave.
they buff the armor on those things
I
again.
mean, if she does go for a play, you just kill her because she'd be overstaying too far. But either way, the whole premise is that she griefed by not hard shoving that wave, and you griefed by not staying. Okay. In terms of mid game, generally speaking, I mean, this is technically still early game, but the game's so accelerated. Playing for that plate's fine, and then you just look for roams. You don't need a help here.
No.
What are you gonna do here that helps them?
I guess just taking it faster, but I think
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Belveth died top, so there was really no reason for me to be there.
yeah, and you have Soraka. That's the biggest thing, right? You already have Soraka here. There's Morgana already showed. You can bridge extremely easily. So why not just play for either play for plates here, or play for Diana kill, or just play for bot room, right?
Like the bot room. Yeah, no
You can
reason
do
to go top. I see.
a lot more here with your time, and they just did not need to.
Then just stand there and hit that thing.
I will answer questions after this coaching session. Okay. Recalling.
Shut down.
I think your recalls are kind of pointless. This is the second recall, right? The first one was here, where you basically could have missed almost 2 waves, and this recall is also pointless. Are you going to get your Kraken from this recall?
No.
Exactly. What is the strongest spike you can get right now? It's going to be Kraken on your recall, right? It's not going to be a fucking recurve bow with cloth, right? Or cloak. So every single time you recall, you're basically losing tempo to gain tempo. But if you buy, let's say fucking whatever you bought, does that give you enough tempo for it to matter? Unless there's like a Drake fight where it does matter, but generally speaking, you're so far ahead, you don't even need to care for items in Drake fight, you're already ahead. Just keep playing for plays, right? Make it so this Diana can't come back into the game. You're giving her way too many opportunities to play the game out and potentially actually impact the game.
Okay.
So I would only recall for Kraken there. Okay, that's fine. What does this recall do?
That's the one that gets me cracking.
You see how it's like different though? So this recall is
It's
technically
right.
bad.
It's right as Drake is up, so and I'm not there.
This recall is technically bad because look, they have 2 dead, plates are still up, and you're not needed in this Drake fight.
I'm not needed in the
Why don't you just hit plates? But like, you have to understand that's the reason why your first recall was bad to begin with, right? You would basically maintain your tempo on the map by staying if you didn't just recall for like 2 useless items. And you could kill here, you can hit plates, and then you can just recall on like 2,000 gold plus.
Blue team's turret has
Okay.
been destroyed.
Because the way that you think about recalls is it takes approximately, I think like the exact number is like 26 seconds to walk from, you know, here to here, right? And you've recalled 3 times now. That's like 1 minute and we'll just round up. That's like 1 minute and 30 that you're not applying pressure. So of course in this
Time
game it
waste.
doesn't matter. It's 3 vs 20. This game's fucking over. But that is a lot of time that you're just kind of wasting doing nothing besides just walking back to the lane.
Stealth time! I mean, stealth time.
Why are you roaming here?
I saw there were 3 bot and thought I could try to help, but I probably should have stayed mid because Diana could just push this out then. And they're all against tower, so it's kind of pointless. But they lost us pretty hard.
Okay. It worked out, but the biggest thing I want you to cognitively think about is like, generally speaking, this isn't a roam timer. The waves are literally about to meet unless this is a guaranteed free play. It's free because like this is the thing about Akshan. Akshan just fucking elo inflated and lower elos because people don't know how his kit works. They don't know how invis works. They don't know how roaming works. So you're going to get free kills. But I promise you, the moment you get to Diamond, Masters, stuff like that, this doesn't work.
That,
right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even go for this. The biggest reason as to why not to go for this, the wave already met. How much different would it be if you just shove this for 2 seconds and then roam and then look at the timer and analyze if it's a play or not, right? One option.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to hard push it, do I want to be in front of the wave and then just kill everything and then go, or
Yes.
does it matter if it's a cannon wave or not?
It doesn't necessarily matter what wave. It matters where the wave is. For example, Akshan's wave clear is one of the most broken part of his kit, right?
Yeah.
So
it's kind of.
you would sit here, you Q, you blow up this wave in about 2 seconds, and then you roam.
And then I go. Okay, that makes sense.
The biggest difference is the fact that one roam, you're giving Diana a play. You're giving her a play to come back into the game by her hard shoving this and then playing for plates while you show bot, right?
Play. Yeah.
What does the second play do? When this wave is gone, she clears the wave. She's fucking homeless. She's standing there for 30 seconds. I mean, not 30 seconds, but
Waiting
like
for
15 seconds. Waiting for the next
Waiting
wave,
for the-
or if she follows you, hey, she's fucking dead. She can't play the game,
Yeah.
right? So, like, whenever you watch my streams, I'm shoving this instantly, and then I will assess if this play is doable or not.
Then. Okay, that makes sense. So just shove it in, and then I can. Run.
Yeah. Because I don't even care how many kills you get. This is low elo. This Diana is... Okay, please. This Diana has cancer.
It's Iron 2, bro.
Jesus. Okay, yeah.
Every Iron player I've ran into stands still while autoing into
think she's
not
lagging.
kite whatsoever.
She is lagging IRL. It's fine.
That's what I was about to say.
Alright, cool. Goodbye.
So then I saw Kaisa was going min, so then I just went bot and then started split pushing.
Yes. Generally speaking, 14 minutes, you will always be bot side, but it just depends on your AD carry, more or less, whether they know it. I'm surprised. I mean, it happened this game because you already took the tower, but... Okay, cool. That's fine.
Blue team's inhibitor has been
You're
destroyed.
standing still as well. There we go.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Oh, I was someone messaged me and I was answering.
Pretty good. Okay. I think majority of the rest won't matter. Like, this is all fine.
Blue team's turret
I'll just quickly skim through. This isn't needed. This tower is worth more than the Ezreal. Just ignore him.
Yeah, I wasted ignite for no reason then there.
Like, imagine a world where you go in and they're just all here waiting for you, right?
All 5 of them, yeah.
Exactly. Like that. It's just not needed.
I
Okay.
assume since Morgana wasn't there, that no one else would be there, but that was probably a bad way of thinking of it.
I mean, what I will, what I'll say about this elo is, you can assume, but they'll probably do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Like, I would probably assume the right plays, and they would still do the wrong plays type shit, but... This Rift is fine. Generally speaking, you want to look at what's playable next. It's going to be Drake into mid lane. I think the rest of this is over, though. Yep, this is fine. Okay. I think this game's over. Okay. So, let me just briefly summarize things. So, play with intent and play with understanding, like, of how to punish someone. Like, her ever walking up to you as a level 1 Diana is literally just reportable, right?
Yeah.
She would be dead here instantly.
It would be dead a
She
lot
wouldn't
sooner.
even be able to touch the wave. Yep, she's dead right here on my screen, but it's fine. Your clicks are also pretty bad. I assume you don't analyze why you click backwards. I think you're just doing it subconsciously, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I was speaking about like the cognitive thinking and why you have to actively think. So utilize that to understand why your clicks are bad. Same thing in the top play. Everything else, unironically, looks fine. I think a lot of it has to do with just a lower MMR, so it's gonna be super easy. Like hopefully through this coaching you will just climb to like silver, gold, because that's all you need. And then you'd probably need like excess help at that point. But once you think about your clicking, your decision making is honestly fine for the most part. Nothing to speak of here. And then look at your recall timers. Every single time you recall, look at if you could have stayed for extra waves, stayed for extra stuff. Is there anything on the map? Is there an objective? Are they dead? Stuff like that, right? Because if they're dead, and you can, let's say, for example, get a plate really quickly, then it's always worth to get that plate. Unless you are at your item and you're staying on a lot of gold, then, of course, there's, like, very case-to-case situations where you don't, but... This game, you did, like, 3 useless recalls, in my opinion.
Which could have saved a lot of time if I didn't.
Yeah, exactly. And it would just allow you to snowball games. Now, when I do my rank 1 climb, you'll see that I'll exploit, like... I'll basically, like, say what I'm saying, right? Or do what I'm saying. And you'll see exactly how I just carry through these elos with proper decision-making, stuff like that, so... Cool. Any questions for me?
What? I want to know, like, just basically the little matchups that I want to swap between Longsword, D-Blade, and Cole.
Okay, so I mentioned earlier how you went for a D-Blade, it's the correct choice, and I mentioned how you get the HP every single back, and that's literally how I see it. Does the 80 HP matter every single back, and it just equates to more value than, let's say, Longsword Refill or Longsword 3-pots? And the answer is, in this matchup, it does. Because Diana is an assassin, so she's looking to one-shot you on one combo. So that 80 HP will actually matter. So let's say she goes in, right? She gets you to 100 HP, and then you live, but then you have to reset, and now you get an extra 80 HP to basically play with. And like, it's basically like a safety net against generally assassins for the most part. Because let's say an alternate universe where you live with 20 HP, and that Doran's actually saved you, right? You would reset, and yeah, you'd play accordingly. And also, it gives you Omnivamp, which isn't too noticeable for the most part, but each time you hit minions, you're going to heal back. So that's like net HP as well. So into assassins that like to short trade, for example, Zed, Kiana, stuff like that, they like to do short poke trades. That 8 HP is going to matter, plus the Omnivamp, which will give you maybe 100, 120 HP throughout laning phase, and that's consistently every single like interaction with them, right?
Right.
That's literally how I see Doran's Blade. And then Longsword is into matchups where that doesn't matter and you can actually kill. For example, generally mage matchups, you don't really care that they can burst you because they don't have the burst. They generally just poke you out, and you might be like, oh, the Omnivamp would probably help there, but generally speaking, that extra AD and just playing to kill them because they don't really have great sustain, stuff like that, matters a lot more. And then you can go Cole into like really greedy matchups like Kassadin, stuff like that.
So Cole into farming matchups, Blade into assassins, and just Longsword into mages then?
Yep, exactly.
Alright, that's fair enough.
Cool. Well, glad to coach you, and if you have no more questions, I'll catch you later.
Alright, see you, man. Thank
See
you.
ya. Of course.